All right. Next division. You guys ready?
No.
Okay. Well, you're going to find anyway. The Discover NHL Central Division featuring the teams Carolina, Chicago, and Columbus. Also Dallas, Detroit, Florida, Nashville, and Tampa Bay.
Yes, the Central Division featuring 5 Eastern Conference teams, 2 of which touch the ocean.
The Atlantic Ocean. Yes.
Yes.
But anyway, long story short, let's get into it. Jesse, who are you picking?
A couple of them are super easy. You don't really need explanation. Tampa and Dallas. The Stanley Cup final. I'm going to pick those teams to return to the playoffs. Next up, we have the Carolina Hurricanes. This podcast has been huge on the Hurricanes for the last half decade.
I'm so hot for the Hurricanes, man.
I'm so hot for those Hurricanes, just spinning in there. So I definitely think that they're going to make it back to the playoffs, especially with that D-core. You can't bet against those guys. And last spot in the division is kind of the one that's up in the air for me. So you have Columbus, you got Nashville, you got Florida, you got Chicago, Detroit. Detroit, Chicago, I got to say Florida are all out for me. It's kind of in between Columbus and Nashville. And everything that I saw out of Columbus last playoffs versus the Leafs, I believe that even if they're an underskilled team, that they can find a way to play a system that'll win them enough points to make them into the playoffs.
Great goal.
So my 4 teams are Columbus, Tampa, Dallas, and Carolina.
Good picks, Jesse. Steven.
Tampa, Dallas is super easy. When was the last time the 2 Stanley Cup finalists got to play in the same division? Tampa is not going to have Kucherov. Cool. They won an entire cup without Steven Stamkos. Like, they're good. And, arguably the best goalie in the league. Dallas Stars, wicked tandem. We know they can get all the way to the Stanley Cup final with their backup. So that's obviously good. Heiskanen's a year better. And he's the most important one in that equation. I got Carolina too. I want to see them finally get over the hump.
Yeah.
They just seem doomed to be this really good regular season team that
San Jose East.
Yeah, but San Jose,
they made the finals.
Couple conference finals and a final, come on, Carolina. We need you to get over the hump there. Play James Reimer more. And number 4, I'm with Jesse on Columbus being good, but I don't think they make it. People have been citing, they were able to get past Bobrovsky leaving and that weird season, and they were able to get past Panarin leaving and that weird season. Okay, this is the 3rd time now. Pierre-Luc Dubois, his teammates, pretty openly mad at him about all this.
Can I ask you, Steve, to interrupt you for just a second? What's been the reason? We know that he asked for a trade, and we're going to get into this later. Nobody knows, right?
I can't tell. No, and
I've been reading. I can't find a thing.
He's essentially asked for like a sign-in trade, which I'm trying to remember the last time we really saw in the NHL, where he's like, "Thank you for my extension and trade me now." Like I've never really seen that, or I can't remember the last.
We'll dive deeper into that later on in the episode, by the way.
Yeah, he's such an important part of that team. I know Panarin was, I know Bobrovsky was. How many more times? Like, this has got to be getting exhausting for the Blue Jackets, who were, by the way, a fringe playoff team anyway. They were in a play-in series with the Leafs. It was 8 and 9. So I have a team that I think is probably on the way down, but they're not down enough to miss the playoffs entirely. The Preds. I got the Preds. I don't think they're going to do a thing, but they're there, and they're going to be there for maybe a year or 2 more, unless David Poile does something big, in order for me to take them seriously.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, like, you compared Carolina to the Sharks, a bit more like the Preds.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I like it.
It's a compliment. It's an insult. It's both.
Accomplisalt. Okay, so I'm going to make, in this particular prediction, a very unpopular choice that I'll probably get burned for, but I'm okay with that. So we look at this again, the Discover NHL Central Division. Who are the locks not to make it? Well, Detroit and Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Who are the locks to make it? Tampa, Dallas, right?
I can't believe Chicago without Taves, man.
Chicago did make the playoffs last year, right?
They made the play-in. Nah.
And you know who was a rock star in that play-in? Taves.
Yeah, true. True. So you've got Chicago and Detroit not making it, Tampa and Dallas for sure making it. Then Carolina, it's hard to see how you could count them out. Nashville, for me, has felt stale for a long, long time.
I don't feel great about that pick.
Well, they've gotten progressively worse, right? They've gotten really, really bad.
Kind of a slow death.
Yeah, and it's funny because they've got some talent there, but the Johansson contract, which at the time to me anyway looked good, looks not good. And they also have, and I can't remember his name right now, the Ottawa Senators trade that was a part of the Duchesne trade. Turris.
Adam, you know what I totally forgot? They don't have Turris.
They don't.
They bought him out, and he's on the Oilers now.
Kyle Turris is an Oiler. Weird. There's going to be a few of those, man. Wow. Holy.
Hornquist on the Panthers. Turris is on the Oilers. There's some really weird ones, man.
And it's funny that you bring up the Florida Panthers, Stephen, because if we are paying attention, we know that Sergei Bobrovsky has a good year and then a bad year and then a good year and a bad year. His bad years are terrible. His good years are Vezina. He wins the Vezina every time he's good. He single-handedly got Todd Richards fired and gave John Tortorella the Jack Adams basically in the same year. This is the game breaker for the Florida Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky, I believe, is going to have an unbelievable year. It may be the last great year of his career, but I think Sergei Bobrovsky is back this year. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but then let's go through the rest of the Florida Panthers lineup. Not so bad. Huberdeau, Barkov, Duclair. Don't hate that as a first line. Vetrano, Wenberg, Hornquist, second line. Not so bad. And then you get, Noel Acciari, Vinny Hinostroza. Not so bad for depth. Carter Verhaeghe, like longtime Leaf prospect a long time ago.
I forgot about all these moves.
Mackenzie Weegar and Aaron Ekblad as your top two. And then you got Yandel and Nudivara. And then, Anton Strawman's on that team.
When did they get Nudivara? Like,
this is not a bad hockey team. And they're only spending $76 million if what I'm reading is correct this year. So they got room to make a move if they need to.
And to your point about Bob, by the way, so he had a 900 save percentage last year. I'm surprised it was that good because it was like an 860 or whatever at some point. He had a 913 the year before. That's okay. Like that's on, I would say, the upper half of average.
League average for starters.
Yeah, like it's not $10 million. If he throws up a 913, that team's in the playoffs, no problem.
Yes. And that's why I think Nashville is not as good. Pekka Rinne is another guy who has a great year and then a terrible year. I think Pekka Rinne and the Nashville Predators are not going to make the playoffs this year, as much as it pains me because I love the Preds. But the Florida Panthers will make it in, at least according to me. Now, I might really regret that one because betting on the Panthers is very risky.